All right.
Again.
Back.
Same outfit.
Yeah, Wednesday morning. This
Wednesday
is great.
It's beautiful out.
It is beautiful.
What a beautiful
Looks
day.
like a Wednesday.
It does look like a Wednesday. All right, day 3. Now we're hitting one that's about leadership. Leadership is here to serve.
Yes.
Big value. Again, all these are big.
Big ones.
You guys went big at these. So what was the essence of this?
So leadership is here to, if everyone matters was sort of like we've got to get better there. Leadership is here to serve was I think we've always really tried to do that as a company that, at least back then, everybody started as a recruiter. And we promoted from within in the field. Of course, that's still true in the field. I mean, in the field, there's not one sales leader, all the way up to Sam Kaufman, our chief revenue officer, to me, that didn't start as a recruiter. In corporate now, obviously, we've got people that we've hired in at different corporate roles. But it was easy to sort of be like, well, every leader has done this person's job, and so we need to help do the job with them if that's what it takes, and not be afraid of that. And so I don't think that we were necessarily bad at that. We just wanted to make sure that was like really memorialized as to who we are. Like the shared values was part of the shared values was okay. Like, who do we kind of want to be and where do we need to get better? But at the essence, we were really trying to get to with the shared values is on our best day, who are we? What are we? And that I think is so powerful, because once you know who you are, once you really have that defined as a company, if you hit it right, if that's what people value, if the values are what they value, then people start to form habits around the things that they value, and the habits form your culture. And so that's when we say the shared values are sort of the bedrock of the culture. It's because that's who we are. So yeah, leadership is here to serve was like, okay, this is who we always want to be. I think we've been decent at this. Let's get it in the shared values so that it is never forgotten.
Yeah. When you said there, it brings in my favorite Dolly Parton quote. It's probably my favorite quote. Find out who you are and do it on purpose.
Oh, right? I didn't know that was Dolly.
Yeah, it's Dolly.
Like
so like when you say, we had to find out who we were and these values are who we were, now we can go be really intentional and purposeful in living those out.
My daughter Lucy girl, her favorite song, she's 10, is the Dolly Parton song, Why'd You Come In Here Looking Like That?
That's
great. It's a great song.
So something I've always thought about with this value is, can it be taken too far? Because when you say leadership is here to serve, you can interpret that as like, I just always got to be in it, and maybe I don't empower, maybe I don't delegate, maybe I don't allow my people to fail or make mistakes. So where do you find that balance?
I think it can go too far, and I think, hot take, it can be weaponized by lazy people against their leader, and so that's certainly not what we want. So yeah, it's a fine line, right? It's we do want the leaders. I want the leaders that are gonna have a posture of action and a posture of urgency and a posture of let me get in that with you and try to help you solve it. I do want that, but there is definitely times where we have to be careful to say, okay, no, here are my expectations of you. I need you to come to my level. I need you to go figure this out. It's hard for us because we promote from within, and so there's all the other. Every time you get a new promotion, you've never done that job before. So somebody has to show you, somebody has to kind of go there with you. It's not like we're hiring people with 10 years of experience into this role and say, okay, go do it. So there's constant teaching and training that the leader has to sort of take on. But yeah, I think that the delicate balance of it is once you're able to say, okay, I've worked with this person enough, I've trained them enough, I need to let them go and do that. Every leader has to kind of walk that journey themselves. And then every leader has to also be aware of whenever the person that they have tried to pour into and is working with is not responding and is not giving them back. It doesn't mean, well, okay, the leader just has to keep going there and serving them. No, that is not right. And so they've got to sort of figure that out too. It's a tough job here. I mean, I think leadership is the hardest thing that you can do. And so that's why I will just always have such high respect for all of our leaders.
Yeah, I love that. And some people might see this value as just a value for leaders, but it's not, right? Mm-hmm. Leadership is here to serve can mean a lot of things, but how would you relate this to someone that's not in a leadership role and how this value can pertain to them?
Yeah, it's like, I think anytime you're helping somebody through something, you are serving them. You are making a little bit of a mini sacrifice yourself to stop what you're doing to help somebody else. And that is sort of the essence of leadership is here to serve in many ways. So I don't ever want us to be the company that is so focused on ourselves that if we see this person struggling over here, that's fine. No, you can be a leader by getting in to say, hey man, I noticed how you're approaching this problem. I made the same mistake. Let me give you another way to think about it, or here's how I would do it, or hey, can I help you with that? Yeah. So I think that's how this can really apply to anyone.
Yeah, I love that. I'd love to hear about you. Like, you've obviously probably had some great leaders that influenced you. One leadership is here to serve. Who's maybe someone at Insight Global, maybe someone outside of Insight Global, but who's someone that represents that value too, that really had an impact on you on being a servant leader?
Yeah, I was hired by our founder and CEO, Glenn. So he definitely had an impact on me. He hit the road with me a ton as a leader. And Glenn was he had a very strong posture for urgent action, as you know. But yeah, he was never afraid to pick up the phone and make a call ever before. I see it in so many leaders. Like a Ryan McGinn, this somebody comes to mind who's not afraid to get in and do the job with people. Sam Kaufman, he attended like 24 consultant onboarding meetings with AMs and customers just to understand, hey, is this consultant onboarding meeting that we're trying to run, is this helpful? Is this working? How do we make it better? Like, that is a great example of leadership is here to serve. I didn't say this earlier, but like, if you want to really simplify like why this value is so important to me, like if we can get leadership is here to serve right, hopefully what that means is we don't have any bullshit leaders. And that is like really what I don't want to have. I've definitely in my career have witnessed, those types of leaders before that would rather hide in their office, that would rather hide on the sidelines and not get into a situation with you where you're like, hey man, I'm willing, I'm not afraid, but I don't exactly know how to do this. Can you please help me? We will never hopefully be that company that has leaders in that way, because nobody has respect for those leaders ever at all. And so, while I'm in my role, my job is to help coach up our leaders and help teach them how to sort of roll in that way that they are to get alongside their people and help them when they need it. And if they're unwilling to do that or afraid to do that, then they can't be in leadership. Yeah.
Yeah. Something I think about new leaders a lot, because I got challenged with this when I got my first leadership role in the company. Is I think when you get into leadership, especially the way we promote from within, is that you feel like you have to have all the answers. You feel like you got to be the one, and you got to do everything and do all the things. So what's some advice for some new leaders? I think this one can be, you hear it, but I think it can be a struggle at some points for new leaders when they step into that first leadership role and say, leadership is here to serve. How do I go and act that with my team?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think the first thing is to really care about messing up. And so if you care about messing up, if you really care about messing up, then you're going to be just fine because you care about messing up. The second thing I would say is be real. Try to do whatever you can to be authentic. Don't feel like you got to take on this persona that now I'm the leader person and I've got to talk differently and stand differently. People want to be led by somebody that they feel like is real, that knows what it's like to stand in their shoes. A good example of that is I say lots of things at corporate, as CEO. I've got lots of messages. We've got lots of initiatives that we're always driving at. Sometimes those may apply to you for sure, right? I obviously think they're all great ideas,
of course,
because I'm the CEO. Yeah. But sometimes those initiatives may not apply to you at all. Yeah. So I'm begging you, please, if you see one of those things, be like, "Ooh, okay, got it. Sounds good, important. Our team doesn't need that right now. That's not what I'm going to do, and so I'm going to disagree with Bert on this, and I'm going to go a different way. I'm going to still get all the great results that I need to, but I'm going to know how to not just be a mouthpiece for corporate or a mouthpiece for executive leadership." People love that, especially. And that's a hard thing for a new leader to learn to do. But when you can learn to have that confidence yourself as a leader, your people will love you and respect you for it. And then I would say the last thing, Jarrod, is push your people, right? if for anybody that played sports or what have you, that had a coach that was maybe really demanding, at least my experience was this. I think about my football coach in high school. I really hated him. I didn't like him. At least I thought I did. But as I got better and as I learned to work with him, I really loved him. I had a ton of respect for him because I liked how the expectations that he had for me and how he pushed me and how he wanted me to be my best. And I think those are the leaders that we always look back on with such fondness because we appreciate how they tried to push us to be our best. We maybe didn't like it at the time, which is really hard for the leader because it sends mixed messages. It's like, I'm pushing you and you seem to hate my guts and shit, what do I do here? But sorry, it's tricky. You got to stay in there as a leader and navigate that and still keep pushing that person because you know that's what's best for them. And if you can get them to the other side and get them to see success, I think that's who we think back on and just love that, man, I'm so glad that person helped me and pushed me even whenever I didn't want it. And so I would say don't be afraid to keep leaning into that as a leader, and don't be afraid to push your people to set high expectations, teach them how to hit those expectations, and hold them accountable to it.
Yeah, I love that. I had the same experience with my college baseball coach. Like, when I in the moment I hated him, but I look back now, hate his guts, but he got the most out of me. Right. And I always said when I was in leadership, when I think a job of a leader, I think all your people have a potential. And I think naturally as humans, we underestimate what we're capable of. And I think a great leaders are here to serve is they see more in you than you see in yourself. And my job is to just pull that out of you. How do I get you to do things that you don't think you're capable of? And that's challenging you. That's calling you out. That's holding you to high expectations. But it's really hard to do. And
it's serving your people because it's so hard to do that. It's awkward and we don't hire jerks, and so we hire like really nice people that it's kind of hard for them to like keep giving you the tough feedback. And so in that way, you're serving your people by going there and saying, I know you don't want to hear this, and this is going to be awkward, and you may hate me for it, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool. This is awesome, Bert.
Awesome. Great. Right. We'll do it again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye.